Let the journey begin.
And this takes me to the part of the live I've been so excited for, you guys, because we've been talking and speculating and, predicting. We finally have our very first real look at Katie's season. ABC just released the first teaser with some actual footage. We definitely know we've been getting some teasers before now that have, gotten mixed reviews, sparked a lot of conversation, but I think just had people really hopeful and excited for this first moment where we'd actually get to really see something. So there's obviously a lot to unpack, as with any Bachelor teaser trailer. It is a very short video, you guys, but they've packed a lot into this, lots of little sneak peeks. We're gonna dive in, break down a lot of these clips, starting with, of course, our very first glimpse at the season when we have this clip ready. Let's see if we can roll it now, if our producer is good to go.
I'm looking for the Bachelorette.
Oh my God.
So again, you guys, I don't know how to say other than just that first moment of excitement. My jaw dropped. I jumped up. It feels really real now. Did you guys get very excited at this first glimpse? Her first little reaction there. Hiba, what's going through your head?
Yes, I'm finally excited we're getting footage of actually the night one. I'm done with that white backdrop. I'm done with those rose petals that she's throwing on the swing. We finally get footage, and I'm so happy we can finally see the guys step out of the limo, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, and the first reactions. This is what we've been wanting. We've seen her in the dress. Now we're actually seeing the action behind it. So I'm just happy we're actually getting emotion, reactions out of her. And there's definitely a lot of jump cuts in this promo, so a lot of things are taken out of context, especially as far as the reactions. This reaction, she's in a completely different room from that box that was unveiled of whoever was inside. So watching the promos now, I can really pinpoint okay, that was a producer's call. There's so many jump cuts. So yeah, those are just things to keep in mind. But yes, overall, just very excited to finally see night one content. What about you, Gianna?
I mean, I'm right there with you. I was so excited because I feel like we've been talking about Katie's season for forever at this point. We've made video after video covering everything from even just the speculation that Katie would be the Bachelorette. And, reality Steve tweeting about these potential men, and to see the fact that the season is done filming and now it's on a TV screen, we have a promo. It's this is what we've been waiting for. I mean, it's our first little sigh of relief right before the season actually starts in June. But I mean, talk about things that we haven't seen before right off the bat. I mean, this giant present being rolled in, I for one don't recall this happening ever. And I mean, at least the seasons that I've watched, I mean, the two guys are wheeling in a guy in a big box, which is hilarious right off the bat. And it's just, I feel like it matches who Katie is as a person. She's big, she's out there, she's extra. So to have these guys, or the producers maybe think of this idea, really step up to the plate for Katie, is just amazing. And Hiba, I also love that you address the jump cuts, because again, as a broadcasting college student, you learn how to edit, you learn how to kind of manipulate editing. This is definitely a different shot than the box, and they could have put different shots from this and that to make it look like something else. And I feel as though maybe a lot of Bachelor Nation doesn't really understand that. But that's what makes this promo so great at the end of the day. It adds to the drama. It adds to the, build up, the excitement, the clickbait, if you will. And even just, we're 2 seconds into this promo, not even, and I'm already pumped. Right. So they did a great job.
It worked, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it feels like Katie to me. That's every time we've discussed any of the other promos, I feel like what's been missing is just Katie's energy. And 2 seconds in, it just feels so much more authentic than that stuffy studio in the prom dress with the rose petals. This feels like what I've been hoping for. So I'm just hoping it continues to go up and up and up from here. Obviously, listen, it would not be a Bachelor teaser trailer moment without a glimpse of the guys, which I know you mentioned, Gianna, we have been talking about, we've been unpacking rumors, and we're finally getting a chance to sort of see them in their elements. So let's check out this next clip where we get, quick flashes, of course, nothing in depth, but some, fresh look at some of these guys that are going to be competing for her heart. Let's roll that clip.
Let the journey begin.
And our first look at Tayshia. I mean, it's so quick, but it's also exciting. Okay, so a few of the guys there, I'd say handsome. The one at the very end, I believe some people online are saying looks like Dale Moss. Gianna, anyone catch your eye? How are you feeling? Are they good enough for Katie?
He does look like Dale indeed. Now, Fiona, when they first showed the guys, immediately, I'm not even gonna lie, I went, ooh, because I think they're all so handsome. They're all so cute. And they did just such a good job with casting these men. They all seem diverse right off the bat. I know, again, that was a part of the rebranding, and we've only seen, 3 guys in this clip, and they all look so different. So it's great to see so many different people being represented up on that screen already. And then, we see Tayshia at the end there. And of course, the typical let the journey begin, because we all know that this is going to be quite the journey for Katie. But yeah, I mean, these guys are just very handsome. I am so pleasantly surprised at all of them. So what about you, Hiba?
I am just ready to see the guys be nervous for a change, because I feel like we've seen the girls be nervous for so long. So I'm ready for the guys to, start sweating a little bit. But yeah, everyone that came out of the limo, I was just always waiting for their first reaction of seeing Katie, in that dress. And as you can see on this gentleman's face, he's smiling, he's excited. I can tell he's a little bit nervous. So I'm just really excited for the first interactions that they'll have with one another, because that will say a lot. That might determine some of the front runners that we can foreshadow, later on in the season. So night one is just always exciting to have everyone out on the table and just really kind of pick your players, and kind of determine whether they'll make it far or maybe even make it all the way to the end. So I just feel like it's just a fun kind of, it's kind of like fantasy football, just kind of predicting what's going to happen. So I think this is fun, and it's going to be exciting to see, who she chooses and just what the chemistry will be like right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, the first episode, I have to have a glass of wine while I'm watching the limo entrances, honestly, because it's my worst nightmare. It can be so awkward, so nerve-wracking for everyone. And there are some more that they're teasing later that you guys, I don't know how I would handle it personally. So it's just this is that crazy Bachelor energy, these unique experiences that you don't see anywhere else. Obviously, we are all so thrilled for, the start of it all. And of course, after the limo, after those connections start to be made, we get some steamy scenes later in the season. Let's face it, it's the Bachelorette. They're gonna set up some pretty crazy dates, crazy challenges, and from what we see in this next clip, you guys, I don't think it's gonna disappoint. Let's check this one out.
Okay.
So literally cowboys, we can see here, I mean, this is the first kiss. I don't know that it's the first kiss of the season, but it's the first kiss we're seeing. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless. They are shirtless cowboys. She's got some sort of a sponge. Gianna, what do you make of this?
I mean, again, ooh, what is better than this right now? Look at the screen. Look at those abs. Are you kidding me? But aside from the abdominals, I really hope that these men are actually good men, Obviously, though, we need that, steamy kind of moment. Obviously, again, this season is taking place in Albuquerque. So we were talking a couple weeks back, predictions on what sort of challenges were they going to do? What kind of events were they going to do in Albuquerque, New Mexico? So I can really see that they went with the kind of deserty type of vibe. They're right there out in the desert. The cowboy hats. I mean, obviously they had to spice it up a little bit with the guys. So I'm really interested to kind of see how this dynamic works, and Katie being in this position, this kind of steamy position, if you will, with these men, and how she kind of handles it. Because again, we all know she doesn't take BS. So if a guy's just trying to impress her here with looks, she's going to be you need the personality as well. So although we love the abs, we love that 8-pack right there, there needs to be personality along the way too. But all that aside, I'm excited to watch these scenes. Fiona, I will also be having wine every single episode, especially the first one, of course. But I mean, I just can't wait to watch these. What about you, Hiba?
Oh man, watching these clips, I was like, Katie's just living her best life. Hot Girl Summer came early for her, and she is just, living it up as she should as the lead. And I think this will continue throughout the season. It was nice to kind of get a taste of those clips. Her basically giving a man a sponge bath at this point. We don't know what episode this is, but it seems like, it's a good way to break the ice. And I think it's, like you said, Gianna, it's really cute that they're going with this desert cowboy theme because, I mean, that's all you really can do. In New Mexico, I guess there aren't many, resources to really do anything, lavish or luxurious. But again, it kind of highlights what Katie is about. She's humble, she's down to earth. You don't really need much as far as like materialistic things to impress her. And again, I don't know Katie, but I'm just assuming. Because she just seems so real and she just wants, a real connection, something authentic. But again, yeah, girl, like live your life. You're the lead. You can do whatever you want. So I say it's fair game. Like, let her do what she wants, and she looks great, and she's got great guys. So it's anyone's game, honestly, at this point.
I know it's going to be an interesting one for sure. Crazy moments are to be expected any Bachelor, Bachelorette season. Getting away from the Cowboys and back to the limo entrances, there are, as always, you guys, some very unique ones in store. Let's check this one out. I don't think it needs any more introduction.
I think it's perfect.
You stole my pun. Oh my God.
So we are starting to see the trend more and more of guys bringing their own vehicle. Someone's bringing what looks like a funky old RV. So I don't know, maybe it's someone who is a nomad, right? Lives on the road, lives his life like an adventure. And then of course, the one that really has stood out to me, our cat guy. And here's the thing. That's a unique, bold move, but it kind of seemed to work. I'm like already diving in, looking for connections, right? She seemed totally charmed by it. He was totally taken aback. It was silly, but I feel like if he's the right kind of guy, this is memorable. It could really work out. Clearly, I'm getting ahead of myself here, you guys, but I'm excited. You never know what crazy entrance is really gonna work. And I have high hopes for Cat Guy. What stood out to you here? Do you think he seems crazy? What's your take on this, Hiba?
Ooh, this can go both ways. And again, it's just a very slippery slope because you do want to stand out 100%. You do want to show your personality. And it seems like he did that here. But I mean, there's like a thin line of being charming and crazy. So we're just going to need a little bit more context about where this guy's from, kind of his social skills to really see if he would be a good match with Katie. But nonetheless, to take this face value, it's fun. It's better than coming out, looking nice in a suit and a limo. It's different. It's like you said, memorable. And she loves cats. So, I mean, that seems like he's checked off a whole bunch of boxes right then and there. The RV is a little bit questionable. Gonna need some more context on that as far as why an RV. Maybe he is into road tripping and I don't know, traveling. I don't really know if Katie's about that life, but still it's memorable. So I feel like that's what will stick when it comes to, when they start mingling and things like that later on in the night. But again, I mean, it's a good way to stand out. I was also secretly waiting for if anyone would bring sex toys, but maybe they left that out. Maybe they're gonna save that for the premiere, so we never know. So that's something to look forward to.
Going off actually about this RV, my friend and I were talking about the promo earlier on in the day today, and he actually theorized, I won't take any credit for this theory. My friend theorized that because Breaking Bad, the show Breaking Bad, took place in Albuquerque, and the guy drove an RV, that he's trying to maybe mimic the show or like the opening scene from the show. I only watched the first episode and this already kind of looks like the show, so that could be a thing for sure. But that show's about drugs, so I'm kind of hoping like
are they gonna make meth together? What's going on?
I don't think that would be a good. I mean, the idea is cute, just like leave the drugs out of it. So we'll see if that's true. We'll have to talk about that later when the first episode premieres. But in terms of the cat guy, It's just reminding me, I don't know if you guys remember the dolphin girl from Nick Vile's season, because she was obsessed with dolphins, but she wore a shark costume even though it was supposed to be a dolphin, and then that just became her shtick for like the rest of the season, and then she ended up going home because no one could really take her seriously. So I'm hoping that's not what happens with this handsome man in the cat suit, but you can already kind of tell that it's going to be awkward because Katie said it's perfect, and he's like, oh no, you stole my pun. So now he's probably going to scramble trying to think of some other cat pun to make, and I think it's just going to be like a cute kind of cringe. So we'll see what happens with this one. But I mean, we've only seen a couple entrances so far, so we can only imagine what else could possibly come.
Okay, I absolutely love that. A cute kind of cringe, I think, is literally the ideal limo description, because I tell you guys, I am ready for it, but I sit there and I'm just so secondhand nervous the whole time for both parties involved. So cute kind of cringe, that is absolutely what I am looking for this season. There is, of course, cute, and then there is not so cute. Hibba, you kind of just touched on this. We knew, based on the way Katie entered the world of Bachelor Nation, that we might get some pretty crazy limo entrances. And I think this might be the moment. This might be the one. Maybe someone goes even further than this, but let's check out this next guy.
What's up, boys?
Cheers to not being that guy.
So somebody brought a doll. I think cheers to not being that guy is exactly what I would say, exactly how I would take it. They didn't hint about how Katie's going to react to this. I am dying to see. We've said it before, she has a very R-rated sense of humor. She totally leans into that. Her TikTok is hilarious. Not afraid to go there. Obviously, taste your bliss, live your life. I don't know how this guy's setting up the doll. We don't know what jokes he's gonna make or how serious he is, but bold move to say the least. Gianna, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I just knew this was coming. We had to expect it. We knew that they were going to capitalize on what made Katie the Bachelorette in the first place. I mean, obviously we all know the story. She came out of that limo, she had her little toy, and that's how she greeted Matt. And I feel like that's really what established her character in Matt's season and ultimately led her to be in the spotlight today. So, but I knew that they were going to take that and run with it. They even did it in her little white backdrop promo. What's the buzz about? They were really, really referring back to that one moment that she had. And this guy just was reflecting what she did by bringing this, intimacy doll, if we want to call it that. They did put her in a dress, which is great. I mean, if I were Katie, I would have to laugh. Like, she's gonna have to laugh at this, although it is. If this happened without Katie doing what she did in Matt's season, I would be like, get him out right now. Like, I'm very scared. But considering Katie's sense of humor, like, this was totally expected, and I think it's hilarious. So, Hibba, what do you think about this?
I think this is straight up cringe, not cute cringe, unfortunately. Because sometimes, when it comes to her, of course, bringing that toy, you kind of have to tread lightly around it. Otherwise, it's overkill or it's predictable or it's too far. And this here just seems a little too, it just seems a little too crazy and just, I don't know, it just more forced, I want to say, rather than just like, it's like a funny light joke. It seems like he's going to just like have that girl around him the whole night. Maybe Katie won't even go near him, honestly. But yeah, it just seemed a little too obnoxious. That was the word I was looking for. Too obnoxious, too overkill, too forced. I don't know. I don't know. And it seems like obviously this is him entering, the mansion or wherever the mingling is going to happen. So clearly he's met Katie already at this point. So he seems pretty confident that it went well with Katie. Maybe she just put on a face, tried to be nice because, again, this is the first interaction. But, or maybe he's trying to make up for it because Katie had a bad reaction. I don't know. But regardless, the man had the nerves to bring a whole blow-up doll. So we'll just have to wait for Katie's reaction at this point to see what you really thought.
You guys, literally anything is possible. Like, I don't have high hopes for this guy. I'm kind of with you both. It's a little crazy, but he could be our winner at the end of the day. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on this one.
Yeah.
Aside from, of course, the crazy entrances, the possible connections, it would not be a Bachelor season without some drama and some tears. It was to be expected, even with Katie being our Bachelorette, right? The most no BS Bachelorette is still gonna have some sort of drama that is just a reality of the show, of the environment. So let's take a look at what they are teasing of that this season. I love this still because I feel like it really just says it all, honestly. Little Katie cry moment there. I hate to see the Bachelorette cry. It always bums me out, but we know it's inevitable. There's a lot on their plate. We're seeing, I mean, just in this picture alone, it looks like we've got 4 guys with some tears in their eyes. We had a few more in that last clip. Seems like the guys are going to be in for a roller coaster as well. I mean, let's face it, she's not going to let them skate by. She's going to make them really go there, I think, as she should. So I like to see guys being emotionally vulnerable, right? I mean, put it all out there. Why not? I think it's going to be a fun season. What's your take on this, Hiba?
I think crying is a good sign because it shows, things are being discussed, things are getting deep, and people are getting raw and authentic. And I feel like, of course, that's what you want when you're looking for a whole husband, whole fiance. So these are good signs. But when it comes to the decision making and the context, of course, that's going to be hard for Katie because it all kind of falls on her shoulders because she is the lead. She kind of navigates where this relationship will go, what direction it will go, even if at all. So it's good that we're seeing these scenes because it seems like she has formed deep connections with people and it may not be easy to really let them go, etc. But I also think that it's just nice to see men being vulnerable because we don't really get to see that a lot in mainstream media. So even though this is reality, it is nice to see that, she is having deep connections with these men and that, the casting hopefully, did a good job based off of these reactions. So again, I've always said that the casting will really predict whether or not this will be a successful relationship, meaning if it will end up with an engagement. So it seems like they've done a great job and it did seem very diverse. So I'm happy that, she's striking a chord with some of these men and vice versa. So I think it's a good sign. But as far as, who will make it out on top, we don't know yet because we don't know these storylines and the context exactly. But I'm just happy we're getting these reactions and like something is going to go on and we're just going to have to wait till we get to that point when the season starts to air. What do you think, Gianna?
I've been holding back laughter because I'm just looking at the first guy's face and like he's gonna become a meme all over Twitter whenever this moment actually happens because like I could even caption it right now. Like his face is my face whenever I read like a new Bachelor headline in the media, like which is every day, honestly. Like that is just his face is hysterical. But to see the guys crying, like you guys said, it really shows that they definitely are gonna have deep conversations. And throw it back to earlier, we were talking about Katie's character development. We've only seen her fun, bubbly side. We haven't seen her struggle. We haven't seen her be serious or really like dive deep into what she actually wants in a relationship and being in different relationships and navigating those. So to see the guys crying, I mean, it's a good sign at the end of the day. Like, although like I don't want to see people cry at all, but it really shows that connections are being made, hearts are being broken at like she can only pick one guy when it comes down to it at the end. So to also see Katie cry, like you said, Fiona, I don't want to see her cry. That makes me upset. But I think crying is good. These emotions are good. They're again navigating through them, and I think it's just necessary for her. And I'm really interested too to see the story behind her crying in that photo. Did she send a guy home that she had a connection with but had to send him home? Or did a guy break her heart? Did a guy go behind her back? Did she find something out about a guy? Like, we just don't know. But I mean, with all this talk about all the drama, like it says right there, and things happening that haven't happened before, like, again, we can only imagine at this point. But all these emotions, that man's face right there that's cracking me up. This is all good signs right there. It's going to be great.
It definitely is. I think it's also just, listen, selfishly, it's a good signs of a good season, right? I mean, we want to be on an emotional roller coaster right there with Katie. I think there hasn't been too much of a question of how Katie will handle it if presented with some nonsense, with some drama. But this next clip, our last clip here, gives us, I think, the final thing we needed to see to know that she's going to handle the Bachelorette just like we would expect. Let's take a look at this clip.
If you are not here for the right reasons, there's the door.
The Bachelorette premieres Monday, June 7th on ABC.
There's the door. I mean, listen, I immediately went back to previous Bachelorettes who have given that same sort of speech. We have heard it before. It is always a powerful moment. It is always them, you know, taking control, standing up for what they need. And I didn't doubt that Katie was going to do this, but I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to know going in that she's going to stay true to herself. What were your thoughts seeing this moment, Gianna?
I loved it. I snapped. I clapped. I was like, yes, like tell these men, like get out if they're just messing around or just like, I mean, you never know too. People, the casting directors on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette do a great job of casting people that are really trying to find love. But I just feel like there's those people that kind of fake it till they make it. And they're just on the show just to be on the show, to get that platform, to put their name out there. So, you know, if Katie realizes that that's happening, this is probably her response to that. Or again, this shows that there was probably stuff going on with the men showing that they don't have the right intentions with her. And like you said, Fiona, we are not surprised at the way she's going to handle the drama. We know that she doesn't take the BS. We've been talking about this the entire live stream. So here we see it. We see it that she doesn't take it. And I think that she's going to put these men in their place when they need to be put there. And I just really do think that she's not going to let anything slip by her. I think that it's going to be a really intense season, and for once we're seeing a woman that like put men in their place, and I'm here for that. I love that. I love seeing it. And you know, again, maybe that's the reason why some of the guys are crying. You never know. Maybe after that clip, some guys started crying, which is hilarious to me. And I really hope that they take her seriously, and you know, the ones that aren't there for the right reasons, she will pick out of the bunch right away. They will go home really early on, and she will find a guy that is there for the right reasons. Hiba, what do you think about Katie handling the drama?
It seems like we saw no nonsense Katie at her peak during Matt James this season, and I feel like this is no different. It's just going to be a continuation. If she does come across nonsense or people, like she said, not here for the right reasons, or any drama as well, just any of that pettiness that she just wants to completely stay away from, since it's a huge waste of time. And throughout this season, it's going to be really interesting to see Katie's vetting process, the types of questions that she'll ask when she is speaking to these men, whether it's on a date, a one-on-one, a group date, etc. So we never got to see that during Matt's season. And again, though Matt was the lead, we didn't really touch on her relationship type, those types of conversations that she could have had with Matt potentially, because again, she was sent home so early and right then and there usually. But now it's all about her. It's concentrated on her. So again, it'll be really interesting to see the vetting process, see what kind of maybe chemistry that she'll have right off the bat with these guys, if at all. Maybe she might not have some chemistry with these guys. It'll be interesting to see how she'll deal with that, how she'll approach it, and maybe people that she just straight up doesn't even like, you know? So it's just going to be a new experience, a new side that we'll see of her. And I'm just excited to explore more of her personality, see what her type is like, because again, I always put my shoes in the shoes of the lead to kind of see how she'll connect with other guys, who she's going to send home first, who she's going to maybe give a second chance to, or maybe want to delve into the relationship with more a little bit. So it's, again, every lead has a different tactic when it comes to their season, and they're given different advice as well, like we discussed earlier. So it'll be interesting to see, again, if she'll follow that advice, if she'll kind of, you know, go off, you know, the paved road and do what Katie does. But she definitely will continue the trend of no nonsense Katie.
Like I mentioned earlier, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, I am your host, Fiona Zaring. I was joined by the wonderful Hiba Berry and Gianna Gravelisi. If you want to come say hi, check us out. Our social handles are on the screen right now. Thank you so much for tuning in live with us, and we will see you back here very soon. Bye, guys.